We're here.
Yes.
Hey, children, it's Auntie Red Summer,
And it's me, Hanifa Walida.
and we are your gay aunties. Welcome back, babies.
Welcome. I'm sorry. Let's just do that over because I think so. I'm sorry. Let's do that one more time. My bad.
Okay.
Hit it.
Hey, it's Red Summer,
And it's Hanifa Walida.
and we are your gay aunties. Welcome back, babies.
Hey y'all. We took a week off because we just did.
We had to. It was necessary. But we're back. We're here with you. And for those of you all who are just joining, maybe somebody just told you about their auntie that you should go and check out. We just want to let you know that Your Gay Aunties is a weekly podcast that is centered around queer adulting. So if you want Auntie Red or Auntie Hanifa to answer any questions that you have about life, love, or any other experiences that you have in your good gay life, go on ahead and send us a letter at yourgayaunties@gmail.com, or you can DM us on Instagram or Twitter at Your Gay Aunties. And we just want to let you know that this month is all about partying with a purpose. So that is our theme for the month, and we are looking forward to having a phenomenal guest who will be talking to us soon about their experience partying in the gay community and creating a new experience for us to party in the gay
It
community.
is.
So we definitely want you all to go ahead and link up with us in whatever ways you can so that you can be a part of that conversation.
For sure. And even just to add to that, we know that, though we're talking about partying with a purpose, we know that these are interesting times,
Mm.
and that, you may be curtailing your partying.
Party.
Because, well, you should be anyway, don't
Mm.
take your youth for granted. You can bring it home to grandma and we not having to have that, you know what I mean? So you should be, just pulling back, limiting your partying a little bit, at least for the next couple of months, or we shall see. But still, so, even if you're having questions about that, or you've had experience regarding everything that's going on with social distancing and all of that, that's also included in our theme in the context of partying and what that means to you and what it has meant to you and what situations it has put you in. For
Absolutely.
sure, for sure. But but
Yeah.
let's start it off, let's do a little pop in politics. Let's see what's going on in our world, you know what I'm saying? Good, bad, or
Oh my
whatever.
gosh. So much has happened since we last spoke with each
I
other.
know,
Goodness.
I know, I know. It's like, Lord, we can't like talk about everything that be happening, but let's talk about some fun stuff.
Okay. Because, the last week was it was stressful. I thought last week was stressful until this week, right?
I'm starting to see all of these memes and like, you know what? I want to go back to 2019. I apologize 2019 for complaining and wanting 2020 to come in, and now that we're here, I want to go back.
I want to go back. I saw one where they had, the meme of the sister walking forward into the future. She had turned around. Was like, that's okay. It's like, I don't know what they doing up there.
I
Like,
saw I saw one with Oprah Winfrey. It was like, this is me at New Year's. It's like one of Oprah's like vibrant things, and then this is me in March 2020. It's Oprah like getting beat up by Harpo or something like that. I had
indeed.
to struggle.
Oh, my
To
life. I
struggle.
had to
All these 3 months I had to fight.
Woo.
But yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So we have a lot going on the pop front and the politics front.
And speaking about going back in time, you know what I'm saying? I was so excited when I saw this come across my timeline. I had to share it with the children. It's like Queen Latifah got a new joint out.
Yes. Yes. Is it a whole song? I just saw the
Yeah, I
one
think
verse.
no, no. I think she has a verse on the song. It's her, Jada Kiss, and somebody
Oh.
else. It's some like I hate to say old school, but that's what it is, I guess, at this point. But like old school MCs, I think all.
JK.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I was just to hear her voice again, to hear her vibrato, hear her coming at you. It's just like
Hmm.
honestly, it just was really endearing.
Absolutely. It definitely took me back. And to have her kind of play on, like, been going for a minute, but I'm back now. And, like, recounting everything that she's been doing. And, like,
Exactly.
don't forget, okay? Don't make me go Cleo.
And not for nothing, I really appreciated like she's like, bitch, I'm grown, but here's this grown MC coming at you. Like, I don't need to act like I'm 20 years old. First of all, that ain't cute. You know what I mean?
Right.
Here I am with it. She got like a nice kind of tailored long coat on, but she got her Timbs on.
With the
Even
decoration.
what I'm saying? Even her like her body language, like what? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like you can imagine what it is to be I'm about to say elder, my bad girl. Older. An older MC kicking
But
it.
she's definitely an elder MC
Yeah,
now
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah,
what
yeah.
she's doing and what she has done is completely different from where the genre is at this point. So,
Yeah, yeah. So that's
yeah,
like,
be elders in every aspect of life.
I just really enjoyed it. It was just a breath of fresh air. Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, yeah. There you go.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Did you did you get a chance to see the video that Jada Pinkett Smith posted of Willow's performance art?
Yes. I love that young lady. I do. 'Cause she reminds me of not I mean, not even so much myself, but she reminds me of a time where you can just say really do the art that you want to do. Like she's staying so true to herself at such a young age. Just doing like okay, so the whole um, uh, uh, kind of installation piece. Her and I'm not sure if he's her boy. I think he's her boyfriend, but
I read an article about it too, and it listed him as her boyfriend and bandmate.
and bandmate and or at least
Hmm.
artistic partner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like this whole thing, which I appreciate, this whole artistic piece is about it's like a meditation on anxiety, and it's supposed to go through the 8 phases of anxiety. Everything from anger and I mean, it's supposed to be. I forgot what the 8 phases are,
Hmm.
but I mean, just to have this meditation on anxiety where they're in this box, which is just the idea of being in a box for 24 hours is, it can, for me, it created a sense of anxiety, but also I understood the metaphor.
Hmm.
Because sometimes when anxiety comes with that is exclusion, and you do kind of put yourself in a box, and the social
Yeah.
anxiety of not wanting to go out in the world. So what happens in this box and going through these phases in this box, but then also bringing the world into it. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? I thought it was just a beautiful artistic expression.
And too, like so many times people watch loved ones going through anxiety, but you
Mm.
can't reach them. Like you
Mm.
can see it, but you can't touch it. You can't affect anything that's really happening as much as you try. Like her mom is there on the outside of the box, right? And so what is happening inside, like how does that even affect mom on the outside watching, I don't know, whatever her life journey was, right? She's been growing her locks out for however many years, and then now they're doing this thing where the boyfriend is shaving her head in this, manner. And so the anxiety in that moment, because I feel like that was at the end of the evening, right?
Letting
So
go, releasing.
yeah, and so watching people have to go through whatever their processes are, and not being able to access them, like kind of is an extension of that experience. And I did pull it up. The stage is Paranoia rage, sadness, numbness, euphoria, strong interest, compassion, and acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so how do those things look from the outside?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
as the artist, like how do you embody those things
Mm-hmm.
throughout this time period? Like this is an extended performance for 24
For
hours,
hours, exactly. And I know they
right?
take breaks to eat and to go to the bathroom and to just take a break in general, but you know, to experience that, or and it is a performance, so it doesn't mean they're necessarily experiencing it in the moment, but they have to project that experience.
Yeah.
So it is a performance. And whew, I was like,
Yeah.
she is going to be one of those lifetime artists that are going to create like really incredible art.
Mhm.
It's not going to be for everybody, but it is for so many. And I think, and what I also appreciate about her, well, first of all, being a Smith, she has access to do this in
Yeah.
MoMA, excuse me. She's in one of the MoMAs, one of them.
Yeah.
She's in a Mo something. she's in a,
Uh
she's in one
let
of
me
the,
see.
what's the name of the museum?
I had closed out the article. Hold on. Um
As you look for it, like so she does have that access because she is a Smith, but so what, right? I really, the way that she's been raised, that she's able to access, to go this deep as an
mhm.
artist, but also speak to her generation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, like art this deep, some people will say that, oh, well, you're too young to even to go this deep, But because she's been raised
Mhm.
in an environment that has allowed her to access her feelings, to access her emotion, and to access her artistic expression, that she's able to give these gifts, these artistic gifts,
Yeah.
not just to people, not just to her peers and her generation, but to people my age, because I suffer from anxiety as well, and I
Yeah.
really appreciated this and I could understand it. And for young people who don't have access to this kind of artistic performance and may not understand it, she's also an educator
Mm.
as far as art literacy,
Yeah.
you
I think
know.
there like that's interesting that you say that because so much of and I, even as I'm thinking it, I have to say that young people today are absolutely creatively brilliant in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
Like the meme creations, the art that you all are like the visual art that you're creating, like and that you're able to do it so quickly to in response to what's happening in the world around you. The videos that you all are making, your comedy, like all of that stuff is absolutely on point. I think for me though, this is a melding of that. That's also a throwback, or an homage to like even Dadaist, artwork or old um, concepts around art and performance that we haven't seen a lot of in
Mm-hmm.
a long time, especially in art spaces, right?
And even the metaphor of the box, I thought, or the box you can look into, I thought was also an excellent metaphor for how this generation interacts and how it can be anxiety causing as far as the screen, the box that is our laptop, our computer, our phone,
Ooh,
and we kind of put ourselves in this self made box and we're able to express ourselves through in this box, but we're
mm-hmm.
not literally in the same room with each other. We're not, you know what I mean? There's still a
Yeah,
disconnect that is happening. It's generational, it's cultural, whatever. But the fact, I really see that metaphor of the see-through box as the box we kind of all put ourselves into, in particular younger people, but we all put ourselves into when we interact online, and
mm,
where, like you just said, younger people are able to express themselves quickly, profoundly online in a minute. They got some
yeah,
dope ass stuff up there, or they're able to turn on their phone. They can be whoever they want, or they feel, empowered to express
mm-hmm.
themselves through their phone and then put it out to the world. But it's not, a one-on-one interaction. You know what I mean? It's not really face-to-face type of interaction as, say, our generation are more used to in regards to art or art
Yeah.
creation. So it's
But
interesting.
even like the shows like The Circle and Love is Blind and these
Mm,
reality shows where
mm,
people are, falling in love with each other and they've never seen each other, just, pictures or something like that. Um, like those are interesting concepts of or ways to reflect where our society is right now. Um, and I did see something that you posted about like that concept of space and loneliness and like where people are, how people are, can reach out to each other during this time where a lot of us are home, you
mm-hmm,
know,
mm-hmm,
home alone, like
mm-hmm.
home with, people who are family or people who are not. Like there's so many different ways that this looks. And it'll be interesting to see like what is created from where we are now. I feel like America gets to be patted away from so much that happens in the world. Like we just move on like nothing is going on when there's wars happening, move on like nothing is going on when children are being, families being locked in cages at the borders. We're just going on like nothing's happening. But now we have to stop, right? And
Mm-hmm.
we have to stop and reflect and we have to stop and we are actually physically affected by things that are happening for the first time in a while, and so I'm interested to see what the artists do with that.
And it's interesting that I read an article, or just a think piece where someone's like, whenever, for those of you who question or judge parents who take their kids from their country and go through hell to get to this country, out of desperation. He's like,
Mhm.
remind yourself how you're reacting in just a light version of desperation. We buy toilet
Yeah.
paper. And we laugh at that, but it really speaks to our human inclination. Like when we feel pending desperation, we feel fear, and we have a
Mhm.
sense of a lack of control, and we have to deal, and our anxiety is heightened. What are the things that we do initially? It's
Yeah.
like, and even though we laugh at the whole toilet paper thing, you know the idea of buying toilet paper is a sense of us trying to control our circumstances, even our
Yeah.
basic hygiene. What is that thing that, if we run out of it, are we less than human? Are we, you know what I mean? Are we less than?
Mhm.
Ain't thinking about food yet. Well,
Yeah.
even though the shelves are empty pretty much, but this country still will always have plenty of food for the time being. But
Mhm.
the toilet paper thing is symptomatic, of this idea of us. How do we control our sense of being, our sense of being civilized, if you will? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So when we then judge parents that make these decisions when their desperation is much more heightened, and the decisions
Right.
they make, you know, it's so, like you said, it's a meditation on who we are as a people, as a culture, as families, as individuals, our sense of judgment, our sense of interaction with the world, when now we have to stay home, or at least
Yeah.
stay close to home, and be really, really mindful of our surroundings, being mindful of each other. And how do we, even when we kind of are fearful, not, yeah, to an extent fearful of each
Mhm.
other. You know what I mean? Like, the sneezing, because I know, man, somebody sneezing around me, I'm ready to fight, but then again, I don't want to fight, I don't want to touch you. you know and being considerate of each other, even in these times where we have to somewhat be distant, you
Yeah.
know
I
um
know in our last couple of days at school we started doing the Wakanda greet. Because like we're still here, we're still in space with each other, but
mhm.
even trying to have a conversation with students that wasn't gearing towards
Yeah.
their fears and their concerns and their sense of safety and their sense of space. Like it's funny because I always had like two or three bottles of hand sanitizer. Shout out to Mary Kay who made sure I was stocked up. But yeah, so now I took the big bottle out because we were going through the little ones like so quickly. And the students were like, oh, thank you so much for like putting this here. And like they were using it and they were like excitedly like interacting around this hand sanitizer. And like every time they would do something with each other, they would go immediately back to the hand sanitizer, and it just like I'm just watching from my space over here because I'm not. Hey y'all, put the assignment up on the board, y'all. Okay, I had a little cold a couple weeks ago. I don't want nothing. I don't want no smoke. But just so I'm a little distance from them, and so I could watch them in their interactions of how they were expressing their sense of self and their sense of place with the fears that they had.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's just, it's all very interesting to me right now.
It is. It is. It is. I know the sociology students are having a ball with this, and even
Hmm.
the anthropology students. For how we are reacting to this as a culture, because we are a culture. We are an American culture.
Yeah.
But a part of the human culture as well. So there's this overlap, but there's things that are distinctly American, and so how we react to this really is indicative of who we are, and it kind of, as Americans, I think sometimes we take for granted who we are. Black,
Hmm.
white, it doesn't even, it's not even a race thing. This is a more of a cultural thing. We take for
Yeah.
granted because we do have a certain place in the world, though that has been severely damaged by 45. But we have a certain things that the things that we take for granted, and because we take them for granted, just like white folks, we don't always see where we're at fault. We don't always see where we drop the ball. We don't always see
Yeah.
where we lack as a
Hmm.
people. And so this is a really good meditation, again, as a people, as a culture, as family, who we are as family and who we are as individuals. So, this is a silver lining. This is an opportunity. Even with, all aside from the deaths that happened, and RIP to all the people who have lost people, due to this illness, um, in this craziness. But, still, this is an
Mm.
opportunity. There's always an opportunity when things like this happen. So this is our opportunity. So stay still and meditate on it, whatever that meditation looks like, to
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Whew. So it is right. It's trying times, and um it's scary, right, for a lot of people who get scared, right? I know people who are not even tapped into it yet. They like, man, it's a blow over. It's fine, blah blah blah, right? But there are some people who, as we talked about a little bit before, a minute ago, about like who they're anxious,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that anxiety is a real thing. There are so many people who are missing medical appointments, who are not able to, get to the things that they need to get to, maybe
Mm-hmm.
therapist appointments and things like that. And so let's be kind to each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's really just be kind to each other in this time. Let's not fight
Well,
over the toilet paper.
exactly. And also, let's focus on those who are, and this is why I actually posted something recently on our Instagram account about the beautiful things that are coming out of this. Like,
Mhm.
I posted this swipe where Lizzo was playing. She had a 30-minute IGTV of her playing the flute over some incense and crystals. Like, take a
Mm.
moment. This is a moment you ought to take a minute. Listen to
Yeah.
me play the flute. I got my
Yeah.
old grandma sweater on. I ain't twerking. I'm playing the flute.
Yeah.
And
Somebody sent me a 12-hour jazz mix.
yeah, I think I posted that.
Was that you?
Yeah. 12 jazz mix was everything from Gil Scott Heron to this
Yeah.
different, like, really,
I was like, yes, I can put
like,
this
the good
on for the
shit.
day.
Exactly, something I didn't include in that I didn't include in that swipe is actually Questlove. He had a meditation he put on his IG about, listen, y'all. I know that we are addicted to watching the news, especially during this time. She's like, but turn that shit off. After a
Mm,
while, like, maybe check in, pick your make your matter, or this one person that can get an overview of the day. But it really,
yeah.
after, because I think I was doing that too. I was like, I get it. Like, I can be a political wonk too, but these pundits, all they do is talk about it's the same news cycle over and over and over and over again. And it's just
Yeah.
panic, desperation, anxiety inducing. 45 ain't shit. What are they doing for? Yeah. So that can affect your immune system.
Yeah.
It's not healthy, But just back to the swipe file I put, there was Lizzo with the flute. There also I thought was so endearing. A good friend of mine, of ours actually, Shelly Nicole from Blackbush. She had put up this video of Italians who are truly isolated. They can't leave their homes, y'all, except for
Oh,
food.
I saw that.
And they a lot of their apartment buildings, whatever, all have balconies, and so they as neighbors are connecting through music.
Wasn't that
And
wonderful?
it was like cross generational. So you had homeboy on one balcony, DJing. They had the older man on the other balcony playing the guitar, and other ones people were playing the tambourine and
Yeah.
doing a whole a cappella performance and teaching each other. And I was
Yeah, they were
like,
saying the strings were singing.
yeah, it was so beautiful. It's like they are coming, they're finding a way to come together even more so, as community, even though they're separated.
Yeah.
So social isolation doesn't mean social cancellation. You know what I mean? Because we
Yeah.
have to still be a community.
Also, everything that you were saying, you were putting off to later if you are even blessed in this time to be isolated, because there are people who they're essential employees and they have to still report.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're all home, but my wife has to go every day,
Wow.
right?
Hmm.
um but write that book you've been saying you were going to write when you got some time. Finish that play. Go ahead and write the lyrics to that song. Go ahead and
Hmm.
beat out that,
That
bang
beat.
out that beat you've been working on. Like, for real. Like, this is your blessing time that you
Start
have
that
been gifted.
business.
Yeah. Do all the research that you needed on that project, whatever it is that you've been putting off. Go ahead and use this time wisely, because if at the end of it all you did was watch everything on Netflix, you
And
gotta
Netflix don't
wait.
got nothing on, nothing new really. Just FYI.
Exactly.
Yes,
I've been
yes.
watching the longest show in the history of shows,
What?
Jane the Virgin. They have like 46 episodes a season.
I just got through the Hunters, and I felt, even though just structurally, sometimes there were, issues with the plot. I was like, really, y'all? This is a big ass plot hole right here, but okay. But this was the first show that I've watched where I felt like I was a little bit of an outsider. Like, it was so Jewish. It's so Jewish. Like it's one of those things. It's like I felt like a white person watching a blackety black ass drama, and I can't have no
Mm,
comments. Because there was some
yeah,
inside stuff going. Like there was some dialogue. Like, this ain't my culture. You know what I mean? Like, huh,
okay.
interesting. You know what I mean? And it's very Pulp Fiction ish as well, and kind of over the top. But there were moments I was like, ooh, they're like, this is about as Jewish as we gonna get, y'all. So shut the fuck up and
Yeah.
just watch it. This some Jewish shit.
Mhm.
This our pain.
Yeah.
But anyway, y'all. So there you go. Corona, COVID-19, whatever you want to call this bitch. You know, she is an opportunity. Not necessarily, and most artists know this, with limitations and restrictions, that there thus is great creativity can come out of that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So use this time wisely, and so you can come out the other side having more than when you went in.
Yeah. Also, I want to just take a second and shout out all of the artists who
Oh yeah.
I was posted yesterday that I know having a break of this size at this time of the year, when I was just doing my art and didn't have like a stream of income that was consistent, that really would have crippled me.
Yeah.
Like, and crippled my family for a very long time. Um and so, just to put some context to it, I went to a lot of colleges and universities to perform and did speeches and things like that, workshops. And so my February to March income needed to last me until September, when I could start back up
Mm-hmm.
and go back to visiting colleges. So if you can imagine, this is the prime time that I would have been working,
Mm-hmm.
and just a couple of things that I had that were canceled, was, big money gone.
Yeah.
And so I can, I've been watching my friends, my daughter is saying like all of my jobs are closing, like everything is drying up. Like thankfully I can, help my family, I can help my daughter. Like there are so many who don't have that support, and they have been depending on everybody coming out to the weekly open mic or the weekly comedy show, or whatever that was, and those things are all closed, and so people are struggling. And so I have to go back to, be kind and stop being so critical. Like people are managing a lot right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I want to shout out also to my end of the artistry of people who do the festival circuit.
Mhm.
Where straight performances. Like I'm no longer on that circuit, but if this was to be happening a few years ago, again, my income would have been out the door because I was just making money
Yeah.
by going on the road and traveling overseas and
Mhm.
doing the festival circuit. And I know a lot of my friends are now like, what the entire fuck?
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Artists, are very clear on how they make their money, but they are susceptible to people coming out or the gig being there, period.
Yeah.
So when it's not there, artists have to scramble and figure out. But artists are also very resourceful. I want to, there's always a way, and a lot of our artists out there, some of us are going to go back to teaching, or even if it's just making up a course to teach something,
Mhm.
since everybody's home, try some online, make up an online course, get something you can
Yeah.
teach for real, so we're very resourceful, but still, this is a gut punch. And just on a personal note, there was a project that I was looking forward to, called Bloom, but the resources for that to happen just flew out the window.
Yeah.
It just flew out the window, and I had to, tell, I haven't heard back from them yet, quiet as it's kept, but I had to say I had to cancel it. There's no way it can happen, not unless, I win lotto
Yeah.
or something, money come out of nowhere, but the money that I wanted to put aside from it is not going to be there. So,
Mhm.
so that though art can still be created, or rather, though there will be some art loss, there will be art that you can't access because of this, and it will hurt artists. There's still art that can be created, because art can be
Mhm.
created anywhere and is inspired by the world around us. So just back to round it off, what we've been talking about is like, this is an opportunity for artists, for people who are wanting to become art, or just to create art, or to create anything. Because us
Yeah.
artists know that art is not, what you do, but how. So do it. Whatever that thing is, use your creative energy to create it so that it's there for us when all this crap is over. You
And
know?
also you can listen to independent artists in this time if
Mm-hmm.
you're home. Watch other shows, like help people go on YouTube, like watch their videos. Like that's a simple easy way that we can help out people who are affected in that way.
Word. Word. All right, all right. So let's just take a little break.
Yeah.
It's a little sponsor break. Well, we hoping to get sponsors, but in the meantime,
Thanks.
we do have an announcement. Boom, here's our break.
Yay.
All right. All right. So, this has really been a learning lesson, an educational lesson for us, as artists, trying to bring your gay aunties to you every week. And of course, every week we say, hey, y'all, we need some support here and there. But also, it is an art to learn how to ask for support. So, this is one of the things we're learning, and this is one of the things that we're changing.
Mm.
Um, we're learning that simplicity is gold. All right. So, as we tell you every week, you can just go on patreon.com/your gay aunties and support us. And we usually have different tiers, but now we have made that one tier, and one tier only, to support your gay aunties. And this tier is to get access to us doing what we're doing right now. We are
Mhm.
coming to you live on YouTube. Okay? Live. Let me say it again, live on YouTube. All right? So we want to invite you all to come with us, be live, comments in the sections. We can have a live interaction, in the show with whatever
Mhm.
questions you may have. So if you hadn't written us a letter beforehand, you can ask us that question live. And how do you do this? How do you get access to this live feed? Because it will not go public until
Mhm.
Wednesday when the podcast comes out. But if you want to go or have access to the Sunday live recording, which will happen at 1 p.m. You can go to patreon.com/your gay aunties. There's only one tier there, your gay aunties live. And in that tier, you can give anything you can afford. We're opening this up to you all, to everyone, especially in these times, people are holding tight, but they need access to, honestly, podcasts like us.
Mm-hmm.
you know, help calm that anxiety or what have you, or just to get advice about life. Anything you can afford, but the commitment is still monthly. So anything you can afford monthly, give it to us at patreon.com/your gay aunties, and we will give you access. Every Saturday, we'll send you a link, your link, to access us live Sundays at 1 p.m. All right, y'all. That is how life is changing and grooving and moving, and we love you all and always appreciate your support.
Yes. And Auntie Hanif and I really hope that you have found this podcast to be a safe space to learn
Mm-hmm.
or to get advice about your growth, your love, your life. Those of you all who are regular listeners, you've maybe even picked up a gem or two that you use now in your arsenal as you are moving about this life, right? And we have decided to immortalize the auntie quotes that you all love and make them into auntie merch. So we have t-shirts and sweatshirts and all kind of stuff that you can go and check out at our link in our bio on IG at Yga Aunties. Also, give us a shout out on Instagram or Twitter if you catch an auntie quote that you want us to use on a shirt.
Exactly. And it's really cool. We've been putting some auntie quotes up there, and we're learning how to fashion these auntie quotes. But we're also putting questions alongside these quotes, so to really engage in some dialogue with you guys around how you're engaging with life, quite honestly, and how you're navigating your own
Mm-hmm.
life. So we're going to continue to do that. So along with the auntie quote, also will be a question. And let's talk about it. We may also kind of move those questions onto the podcast, or how you answer those questions. So we really want to understand how you guys are seeing life, and how you're, just making life happen for yourself. So again, along with those auntie quotes will be questions. So just check out, just babysit our stories. We'll put them up a lot more often, but when we do put them up, we definitely want to hear from you guys and how you see life and how you're doing things and shit. And also remember, we always love your letters, especially this time when you're in the house and you're thinking about stuff. This is a great
Mm-hmm.
time to take some time and write your aunties a letter, and you can do that at yourgayaunties@gmail.com. Also, the link is in our profile. And if you're not a big writer, you just want to speak your truth while you're in your
Mm-hmm.
house. You can also go to our profile link and click on Speak Your Truth. In that, there's a list of links. One of them is called Speak Your Truth. And with that, you'll have 90 seconds to ask us a question or to tell us your story and wanting of advice. So we really look forward to hearing from you all with that. You know?
Yes.
And speaking of letters, guess what?
What?
Here's your letter.
Yay, we have a
Yes,
letter.
we have a letter. We have a letter. You want to read the letter? Red.
I will. So the letter says, "Hey, Auntie Red and Hanifa. As you know, I'm a black gay man, as I know, because this is so much for my wonderful life."
Does he give a name that we can use or
Yeah,
no?
he does,
Okay,
CJ.
okay, CJ. Okay.
So, as you know, I'm a black gay man who is new to the city I currently live in. You mentioned that you all were going to be discussing how the LGBT community has based its communal spaces around drugs and alcohol. That really resonated with me because I am so deep in that experience right now.
Mm.
I'm in a new city and I'm trying to meet new people. Because of that, I spend a significant amount of my time in bars, clubs, and at house parties. I attended one party recently and I know I was tipsy from brunch when I got there, and we continued to drink all night. In order to have fun, in quotes, I agreed to another round or to a refill, and the next thing I know, I'm drunk. I feel crazy immature writing this right now because I'm an adult and should not be the victim of peer pressure at this age, late 20s.
Mm.
But I also know that I take a when in Rome attitude and go with the flow. I guess my question is less of a question and more of a pondering of how do we change this as a culture. I know there have been many times that I've gone too far or done too much and had to apologize for actions I don't remember. I know there have been times that I woke up and didn't remember getting home. Thank
Mm.
God. As I'm thinking about it, this isn't really fun to me.
Mm.
I guess that's the part of getting older where you reflect on your actions and see where you need to make a change. So, thank you for discussing this topic and for being a resource to the community. Keep up the great work. Love always, CJ.
Ah, thank you, CJ. Thank you, CJ. I
Yeah.
mean, this is hitting at the heart of why we wanted to talk about this, or like take time to talk about this.
Hmm.
I mean, the first thing, honestly, for me, that comes to mind is my own experience with intoxicants. Now, I've never been a big drinker. Actually, most people who know me, I just don't drink. I never really liked the taste of alcohol.
Hmm.
But I have had a relationship with weed, right? Now, some people don't think weed is a bad drug, and essentially it's not. But the abuse of any intoxicant, the drug or the badness, if you will, is the abuse. The question
Yeah.
of why do we abuse it? Why do we take it so much, to the hilt? And so, um, uh, why we go over the top with it, basically, whatever the drug is. And so my relationship, my beginning relationship with weed was how I identified with it, and this is the word I want to highlight: identification. We as queer people identify as this, that, and the third. We got a million labels, but identity also um, can be connected to how you walk in the world. And it's one thing to succumb to peer pressure, but when you reach to a point that I identify as a non-drinker. So because I so strongly identify as someone who does not like alcohol, it's really hard to get me to take alcohol unless it's like a big occasion, someone's wedding, like, I'm just trying to be, but I'll take a sip and put it down. I'm just going
Mm.
through the motions because I identify. So there's nothing you're going to say to me that's going to make me drink so much to pass the fuck out. Okay, because I don't identify as a drinker. Now with weed, how I identified in the beginning was like, oh, I'm the kind of person that can smoke weed a little bit, one day with someone, but then I won't touch it for months. But
Mm.
then I hit moments in my life where I either was depressed or I was dealing with serious anxiety. And then it became, well, I'm smoking it a lot often, and I'm getting in a routine of smoking, watching TV, and fall asleep on the couch, or
Mm.
literally whatever weed I have in front of me. Smoking alone, one, but whatever weed I have in front of me, I can't go to bed until I finish smoking all of it.
Mm.
Yeah, it got that bad.
Yeah.
And so I had lost my identity as someone who can just smoke a little bit and just leave it alone. Like it don't got me like that. So I had to literally change um where I was physically in the world. Like I had to change a lot of things to get back to the point where I'm not like, if I don't have my weed, or I can't be alone with weed, and even to this day, I know that I can't just have weed in the house and act like I ain't gonna look at that shit and smoke it. So I know that
Mm.
only I can smoke socially because now that's how I identify. And even now, I'm
Got
getting
you.
to the point where I've taken a serious break. And what happens is I got the flu. This is way before Corona, but I got the flu a few months back, and I needed that time out. That was the universe telling me, time the fuck out, bitch. I know you going through shit,
Yeah.
but you need a physical time out where you literally can't smoke. And that was a blessing in disguise, you know.
Indeed.
So what I'm trying to highlight is that I learning to identify as someone that, and this is talking to you, CJ, and those who identify with what CJ is talking about. When you go out, begin to identify as someone that you're really clear on what your limit is, and that's that. So it becomes less of a peer pressure thing, whether that peer pressure is coming from your friends or coming from
Hmm.
yourself in
Yeah.
context of your friends. You're like, they soon it becomes, oh, CJ, That bro, he only do 3 drinks, y'all, and he done. And it become a light, it becomes a light joke, but it's your truth. It's how you
Yeah.
identify. And peer pressure can't do nothing. When you clearly identify as one thing, there's nothing no one can say to you to get you. There's no situation that's going to make you succumb to it because you're
Mm,
starting to identify it. But it takes a minute to learn to get to that point. But that should be the goal, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
So when my daughter was getting ready to graduate from high school and go off to college, I knew she was going to Louisiana. Well, she had gone to school, but we took her to Mardi Gras. So the adults in her family, we took her to Mardi Gras, and we taught her how to be a college student in Louisiana, partying at big festivals like that, right? So that when she went the next time just with her friends, like one, this wasn't her first, ride of the rodeo. And so she wasn't overly like caught up in the hoopla of it all, but she knew how to do it and do it safely, right?
Mm.
And as we were going through like each part of it, like we were just kind of pointing out, all right, now you see this, all right, you see that, because you're walking around at Mardi Gras with these huge drinks that's almost like 3 feet tall, right? It's utterly
Mostly
ridiculous.
sugar.
Right, it's all sugar, and now you sitting on the sidewalk like with your shoes off. Like you just don't want to do that, right? But also one thing that I told her when she was leaving for school was drink brown,
Mm.
right? I said that like people respect brown, and you can sip a little bit of glass of brown liquor the whole rest of the party, and people won't come over to you and keep trying to fill your drink back up because you like I'm drinking brown, and they can see that little bit in your glass, and they will respect it. And she's called me a couple of times like like that is really true. Like one, you can't just chug it. Like don't mix it with anything. Just like keep that little bit. You partying, you participating, you're there, but you're not going to go over because that one half a cup will last you the whole party. And it what you said about how I identify is exactly that. Like she identified as a brown liquor drinker, and therefore like nobody's running over with a bottle of brown trying to fill everybody's cups up. Like that's just not how it works, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas all the other stuff like it's communal in that way. Um just like think about what for you, and I'm glad that you gave those examples, will work for you to get a hold of it. I worry, especially with CJ, because there's not a lot of conversation around like gay men and their safety when they're drinking or intoxicated in some kind of way or under the influence,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so, what situations does that put you in? I know you mentioned in the letter getting home and not knowing how you got there, but what happens if where you end up is not home,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, Mentioning like having these experiences where you have gone too far,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't know that you've gone too far because you're not even present enough to remember or be aware of what's happening in that moment, and having to apologize for things that you don't remember doing. Like those instances, those are supposed to be your aha moments. Like those are supposed to be your all right, this like enough is enough moments. But when you don't have that, it's really confidence, I think, in my mind to say no, thank you, and not feel like people are going to socially ostracize you because now you're not participating, you're not, whatever. I think you want to take some time to tap into that. Like, what is it that's happening in me that I feel like, even at this age, that I still have to go along to get along? That I feel
Mm.
like I'm not going to be socially accepted unless I'm partying to this extreme level.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, like,
And what is the point of
What was
partying if you
history?
can't remember? The whole point of living a life is so you can accumulate memories. So at the end of your life or as you get older, you're like, girl or boy, man, remember back, oh, child, remember when we did that, da, da, da. If you can't remember, so you're literally just floating through life, but it's like scorched earth. Everything behind you is scorched earth, scorched
Mm,
memories. You're not accumulating memories. The whole one of the most valuable things you can have in life are your memories of
hmm.
living. That's the
Yeah.
whole freaking point. So if you're drinking to the extent where you are literally forgetting all of these moments that you're sharing with friends, and not for nothing, maybe losing friends or gaining a reputation or starting to identify, or rather others identify you as someone that they can't fucking bring around. That nigga drink too much. He act a
Yeah.
fool past that fourth drink, and you wonder why you're losing friends or your relationship with your friends is starting to waver a little bit. These are all the reasons why you want to really take it upon yourself to identify as someone that has a fucking limit, or you only drink brown, or you only drink this, and you only drink this much of that, because you want to control how you identify. You don't want to be identified as
Hmm.
someone. You want to be able to control that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm the flip for you. Like I can drink socially, and I don't think. I mean, I know that I could drink to get drunk, but I don't. Like I'm very much like just even as a teenager, like I was the one that wanted to make sure everybody got home. I was the
Hmm.
one that wanted to make sure that like we were safe, my homegirls were safe, like that thing. That was just, a part of who I was. Um, I tried to smoke weed and was like, yeah, that's not gonna be me. Like I don't know if it was the kind people told me I had to try another kind. I don't know. I don't like it. Like that's just not gonna be my testimony. And you have to figure out for you, like, what is your enough? Like what is that personal standard that you have for yourself? What is that thing that people, that limit, that boundary that you're setting, that people need to respect if they're going to share your space? Because right now it feels like you're just willing to give, give, give in order to be around people, and they don't have to make any accommodations to be around you. Like you're willing to
Mm.
give yourself, your safety, your sense of presence, your sense of being, like all of that up to hang out with them. But they don't have to make even the sacrifice of saying, nah, CJ, he only has 3 drinks and he's done.
Hmm. And
Like,
yeah. And that's not how respect is gotten anyway. So if at the end of the day, you peer pressure sometimes is our wanting to obtain respect from people, or to be liked at the very least to be liked. And
mhm,
honestly, when you set boundaries and you set limitations, that's where you start conjuring some serious respect. End of the
yeah,
day. And if they don't understand it as respect, then perhaps those are not the friends you need. But most people, most sane people, most intelligent people, most
yeah,
giving people, most loving people will respect someone that has boundaries. You know
yeah,
what I mean? And they'll respect those boundaries. And one last thing I want to just say in regards to safety, and this is for everyone, but in particular, I want to talk to the boys. Sometimes the culture of the boys, there are things that the culture is identified with. It's identified with, sexual prowess. It's identified with, just going there and just being able to navigate the world a little bit more liberally, as is the benefit or the privilege
hmm,
that men feel that they're given through patriarchy, just in general. And that's
yeah,
heightened in all boy culture. But let's get 100 and real with this. If you're waking up not knowing what happened the day before, then you have no idea how someone has touched you, how someone has
hmm,
used your body, or offended you in some way, even if it was verbally.
yeah,
You don't remember none of that. But trust me, your body remembers it, your subconscious remembers it. Okay?
hmm,
And that's going to manifest in some other ways. You still want to protect your being. You know what I mean? And even now in this day where it's like Uber, like, oh, we can get drunk, and that's another thing. This generation, I don't know what is with y'all. What anticipation is that I'm gonna get drunk until I am passed out? Like that's the goal. How
mm,
is that the goal? You know what I mean?
yeah,
That shouldn't be the goal. Like it may happen, but it shouldn't be the goal. But
right,
that's a whole nother story we can go into. But in particular, to the boys, and the girls kind of know this, and sometimes girls in the queer community maybe have a sense of security because okay, it's all women, but still I think it applies to everyone. Let's just say it applies to everyone. You should be protective of your memories because it's being protective of your body. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And getting an Uber is not always the safest thing. As
At all.
many assaults that are happening in Ubers. You can't if you're not empowered enough to fight back someone, whether verbally or physically, if they try to assault you in an Uber, who's this fucking stranger essentially, and they see
Right.
that you're vulnerable. If you don't have it together enough to tell a motherfucker to step off or to pull to the side and let me out or not for nothing
Or
knock a nigga
even know
out,
which
yeah,
direction they're
go
driving.
exactly. Then you can't even remember. He might have pulled to the side, followed you, and then kept it moving, but you don't remember nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So putting a friend into an Uber is not necessarily a good thing who's passed
Yeah.
out. You need to protect that friend hours before, like, yo, honey, you having too much.
Yeah, you gotta slow
Okay, you
down.
got to slow down. You know what I
Here's
mean?
some water.
I'm not having fun with you no more.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So you gotta so we know that's one that thing we should just say that right there. Where you yourself as an individual should be responsible for yourself, your friends also can help you with that. If you're still learning to be responsible. Your friends is talking to you who have those friends who just take it one drink too much all the freaking time. Have that talk with them. It's like, listen, I'm gonna tap your shoulder when I think you one drink shy of I don't want to fuck with you no more. You know what I mean? Start to have that conversations with each other so y'all can go out with the intent of having real fun and then remembering that shit the next day. Y'all taking care
Yeah.
of each other. I remember going to the clubs that I had to, even though sometimes you separate in the clubs, you doing your thing. I always, every now and then, I would have to eye shot my homegirls or even my
Yeah.
homeboys, like, where y'all at? All right, cool, cool, cool. All right, let me go back.
Mm-hmm.
You don't ever drop the ball with your peoples when you go to a freaking club.
Yeah.
That's just not, I'm sorry, that's just friend duty. you know?
Absolutely. So, this happens a lot. So me and my girls will be like, all right, we going together. We're going home together. Like,
Mm-hmm.
no, you're not leaving with anybody else. No, you're not separating. No, like this is how we're doing. If y'all want to hook up later on tonight, then they're gonna need to come get you from the house. Like,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
this excursion that we're having right now is happening together.
Exactly. And again, back to the boys, most predators are men. Okay, and because we're queer, don't make that. I mean, if anything, you're just as vulnerable, especially young men who are just getting into the scene. This may not so much pertain to you, CJ, but to an extent it could. But especially
Yeah.
young men who are just getting old enough, 21, 22, they're really getting up in the clubs, and they really don't know how to spot and avoid predators. and
Yeah.
and and they're really open just to they feeling themselves and they putting it out there and they about to get their dick wet, not to be crass, but let's get real. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's like you need to know the difference between someone who may be a love interest or even a fleeting one, and then it's predators. Okay,
Yeah.
and some of you older gay men need to really pull some of them young boys aside, and y'all need to be uncles to them for real.
Yeah.
Okay. um yeah, that's pretty. I think that's
Yeah. That's all I got.
that's all
Thank
I
you.
got as
Yeah.
well.
Thank you so much, CJ,
Thank you, CJ. Thank
for
you.
trusting us and
Yes.
for sharing this letter with your aunties.
Mhm.
I hope that you got something from our responses, and I hope that all of our listeners who are struggling with something similar are able to get something from this discussion. And if you all have some issues or some things that are going on in your life, don't forget, you can always send us a letter at ygayaunties@gmail.com. You can DM us on Twitter or Instagram, whichever works best for you, so that we can have some of these conversations and get you the information that you need. And if we don't have it, we will find who has it. we
exactly.
we have done it before. Like, oh, we got this letter. Who can we call? Just to make sure that you have the correct information, and that's what we're here for. That's why we do this every week like we do.
Yes. And with that being said, I'm Hanifa Walida.
And I am Red Summer.
And we are your gay aunties. Love y'all.
Babies.